So, in addition to me, there are a couple other folks who'd like to wish you a warm welcome. This morning, you're going to hear from Pat Lampkin, and Ms. Lampkin serves as our Vice President and Chief Student Affairs Officer, and she's going to share with you some of her thoughts about the student experience. However, first, we're going to hear from Evan Burrell. And Evan is the chair of the Honor Committee and a former orientation leader. It's like the Marines, once a Marine, you're always a Marine, once in a while, you're always in a while. And he is going to talk to you a little bit about what it means to be a part of this community of trust. And I mentioned earlier that there's some unique things about UVA, and having a student-run honor committee is certainly one of those things. So if you please give Evan Burrell a warm welcome.
Thanks, Ted. Good morning. My name is Evan Burrell, and as Tab said, I am the chair of the university's honor committee. Now, for a few years, my predecessors have used this opportunity to talk to incoming first-year students about how the honor system works. And that's important. So important that you'll hear about it from someone within the system at your very first hall meeting in August. But I'd like to use this opportunity to talk about something different. I'd like to talk about what the honor system means. I trust you know already that the University of Virginia is much, much more than just a good state school. That's probably why you're here. And the honor system has a lot to do with that. In the day of our adversity, it was our chief support. In the time of our prosperity, may it not depart from us. That's what Professor William Thornton said about the honor system in 1907. And now, more than a century later, 171 years after its creation, honor has not departed from us. But that doesn't mean that each of those 171 years was easy. That doesn't mean the system hasn't faced its share of skepticism. 9 months ago, you could, for a moment, have counted me among the skeptics. 9 months ago, before I was elected the committee's chair, I sat in the honor offices over in Newcomb Hall late one Sunday night, and I watched a student whom I barely knew weep into her hands. She had been accused of cheating, an honor offense. This was her trial, and I was representing her. In that moment, I asked myself a question that I've returned to many times since. A question probably about as old as the honor system itself. Is it worth it? Before we answer that question, I think we need some context. So on its surface, the university's honor code is simple. We as students pledge never to lie, cheat, or steal. But even from its earliest days, even in the 1840s, the honor system has offered us students more than a ban on 3 specific dishonorable acts. It's offered a challenge. A challenge to do what is right instead of what is easy. A challenge to sit in your first-year dorm room, look down at a take-home calculus exam, and refuse to open the textbook 5 feet from your hand, even when you know you're going to fail. A challenge to call someone out in the dining hall when they use gay as an insult. A challenge to help a stranger who's had too much to drink find his way home, even when you know there's a pretty good chance he's going to vomit on you. Which is what happened to my other blazer. Actually. And it is a challenge to do these things, not out of fear of punishment, nor in pursuit of some reward or a pat in the back, but just because you know you should. This challenge is not easy. But it's not easy because it's not supposed to be easy. In the words of Father Michael Suarez, a Jesuit priest and professor of English here at the university, if your vaunted honor costs you nothing, if it does not require of you repeatedly that you take risks, that you evince courage, that you dare even to demonstrate love, if your honor costs you nothing, then it means precisely nothing. Through this personal challenge, the honor system has sought to create something much, much larger than all of us. A culture of unwavering and unhesitating trust, or as it's commonly called, a community of trust. This is the community of which you are now a part. This is what honor does. By fostering integrity, we foster trust, and by fostering trust, we foster this community. Protecting this community is the mission of the honor system. And for 171 years, we as a university community have considered this mission so important that there is only one consequence for students found guilty at trial of lying, cheating, or stealing: permanent dismissal from the University of Virginia. Now, as you can imagine, this single sanction policy is not without its costs. And without the single sanction, without the honor system, I wouldn't have spent that night in Newcomb Hall watching a classmate who had been accused of cheating break down in tears. And so I return to my question. Is it worth it? We find an answer in perhaps the most important tradition at the university: student self-governance. And that answer, I think, is this: the honor system is worth its costs only if we make it so. Let me put it another way. When I sign the letter that formally dismisses a student from the university, and the mother of that student comes to me and she asks, "How could you do this to my daughter?" The only thing that I'm willing to say, the only response that can do justice to that question and her pain, is that I am protecting a community worth protecting. So we might say, the honor system is worth its costs only if we actually make this a community worth protecting. If we don't, if we aren't good to one another, if we don't take seriously the idea that we are our brother's keeper and our sister's keeper, then the honor system should not exist. If the bonds of trust that connect us to each other, the things that an honor offense breaks and violates, if those things aren't important to us, if they're not sacred, then I shouldn't be signing those dismissal letters. I say all of this because for too long, we've been selling ourselves short. For too long, we've been saying that honor is about being able to leave your backpack in Clement's library. That's not what honor is about. Honor is about living lives that we're proud of. And I'm 21 years old, and as my family who is here likes to remind me, I don't really know anything about anything, but I have to think that that matters. I have to think that more than almost anything else, is worth it. Thank you.